Okay, namaste everyone. I'm really sorry I was having some problems with the audio. Thank you for joining in. This is supposed to be the sixth class of the ongoing Vedic Astrology Foundation basic course. And I think everyone has joined. Is it the fifth class or the sixth class? I think I've made a mistake. It'll be the fifth class in that case. Yeah, it'll be the fifth class in that case. Yeah. Sorry. Just let me get a few issues. Yeah, it is the fifth class, and thank you, Leah, for reminding me. Anyways, let's start the class with our Shanti mantra that we do from the Upanishads. Okay. Om Sahana Bhavato Sahana Bhunakato Saha Viryankara Vavahai Tejasvinavadhitamasto Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so we are supposed to start with the houses today. Okay, we had left the last class at the houses part, and these are the houses. Okay, the first house, the second house, the Rashi may be anything. Okay, the first house, if someone's, if someone had the sign of, say, Libra rising at the time of birth, then the first house would be of Libra Rashi. Okay, then the second house would be of Scorpio, the third house would be of Sagittarius, and so on. Okay, but then in all the charts the house position remains the same. For example, in the in the North Indian chart, this is always the first house. Okay, the middlemost triangle is always the first house. The middlemost triangle at the bottom is always the seventh house. Okay, in a South Indian chart and East Indian chart, the thing varies. Okay, the first the first house always starts with Aries, as we had discussed. This is just a recap. And in the East Indian chart, the first house will always start with Aries. Okay, so whichever whichever is the rising sign, we'll just put a double dash, as I had shown in the last class. So that will be that will be the starting, that will be the rising sign for that particular native. Okay, so we have 12 houses in the in the horoscope, and these 12 houses, they will deal with all the conceivable aspects of life. Okay, and Lagna is the most important house. Okay, why Lagna is the most important house? Because when we classify the houses according to their beneficence, according to how benefic they are or how malefic they are, Lagna is one house that is supremely benefic, because it is it falls under a category of houses which is known as Kendra. Okay, Lagna also falls under a category of houses which is known as the Trikona. Okay, so it is not only one of the foremost pillars of a horoscope, it is also it is also the discerning power, the power to discriminate between the good and bad, right? And if the Lagna is strong, then all the other houses, they may be weak or they may be afflicted. But if a strong Lagna can can really help you to deal with the other planetary afflictions that are present. Okay, and the other houses, they are related to the first house. That means they are calculated from the lagna, from the ascendant. Okay, and all the planets in the horoscope, they are subservient to the lagna. That means, you know, the lagna is the primary deciding factor, and the lagnesha has to be, you know, has to be involved in timing any event. Okay, that is what I meant by the word subservience. For example, you know, suppose someone comes and tells me that when I will get married. Okay, what I will do is that I look at the, you know, I look at Venus, I look at the seventh lord, I look at the Tithi lord, and I'll see when is the lagnesha, or the owner of the first house, is getting involved with these planets. Okay, someone may be running the dasha of the seventh lord. But if the lagnesha is not making a connection, or if the lagnesha is not involved either by transit or by, you know, or by natal presence, then the marriage will not happen during the dasha of the seventh lord. Okay, so, you know, all the planets, all the 9 planets, they are dependent on the lagna and the lagnesha. And you know, the original nature of the planet will undergo modification depending upon the lagna. What do I mean by that? I mean that, you know, if, for example, if someone has a Capricorn rising, then Saturn becomes a very auspicious planet for that person, irrespective of the nature of Saturn. Okay, suppose someone has a Capricorn rising, then Jupiter becomes a very inauspicious planet for that lagna, irrespective of the nature of Jupiter. Okay, so we have a few categories of houses. Okay, so we have the kendras, or which are also known as the quadrants. Okay, the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th, these are the kendra houses. Okay, they are the foundation pillars of the horoscope, and they are also known as Vishnu sthana. That means the residence of Vishnu. Okay, so these are the kendra houses, 1, 4, 7, 10. So these are the pillars of the horoscope. Okay, these are the pillars of the horoscope, and these pillars are always attacked by these 6th, 8th, and 12th houses, which are known as dushtanas. Okay, the pillars of the horoscope are always attacked by the 6th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house. Okay, so these are the dushtanas, and dushtanas, the main aim of the dushtanas is to give you dukkha, is to give you sorrow, is to give you misery, is to give you pain. 12th house is not exactly a dusthana, but it is still, you know, the karka is still shani, so we will consider it as a dusthana. Okay, then we have the panafaras. Okay, panafaras are the, you know, are the neutral houses basically. Okay, they are the neutral houses. Panafara, the word is panafara. They are, in English, they are also known as the successant houses. Okay, and 2, 5, 8, and 11, these are the panafaras. Okay, the you know, the thing about the panafaras is that they will always give you unexpected results. Okay, the second house is the house of family. It is the house of saved wealth, how much wealth you have inherited from your family at the time of birth. 5th house is the house of purva punya. There is no way to measure how much, you know, how much purva punya you have accumulated over the last lifetimes. Okay, 8th house is the house of sudden income. Okay, 8th house is also the house of sudden, you know, suddenness. Okay, someone may have a, you know, a healthy person all of a sudden may have a heart attack and may die during the 8th lord dasha. Okay, it is a very, you know, it is the house of sudden events, right? But then inheritance also happens suddenly. Okay, for example, one may have a very abusive and alcoholic father who has made a lot of money, but he is very abusive to the children, and then all of a sudden, you know, the child runs the 8th lord dasha, the father dies, and all of a sudden that child inherits all the money that has been made by the father. So that is how the, you know, that is how the 8th house can be very magical. Okay, and then we have the 11th house, which is known as the harasthana. Okay, there is a reason why the 11th house is known as the harasthana, because, you know, it is said to be the seat of Rudra. Okay, it is said to be the seat of Rudra, and Rudra always sits in, just like the Kendra houses are the Vishnu sthana, the 11th house is the Rudra sthana or the Harasthana, and Rudra just takes his trishul and he fires it out. Okay, so that is the work of Rudra. He punishes you for his sins, right? And what is the house of work? The house of work is the 10th house. So if you count 10 places from the 11th house, you come to the 8th house. So that is the reason the 8th house is known as the, you know, is known as the house of suddenness. You know, sudden punishments may occur, sudden gains may occur. Okay, and then there may be punishments which may later lead to gains. Okay, so that is the reason these houses are known as panafara houses. Okay, then 3, 6, 9, and 12, these are known as the apoklimas. Okay, order, they are also known as the cadent houses in English, but it is much better if you know the Sanskrit terms. Okay, it is known as the 3, 6, 9, and 12, they are known as apoklimas. Okay, Then we have the Lakshmi sthanas, which are known as the Trikonas or the trine houses, which is houses which are houses 1, 5, and 9. Okay, and they are highly auspicious, more auspicious in fact than the Kendras. And along with the Kendras, they will determine the health, wealth, status, dignity, then the virtue of a native. Okay, and as I said in the beginning, yeah, I'll give you the spelling here. And as I said in the beginning, the Lagna is a Kendra as well as a Trikona. Okay, and it is it is the most significant house. Okay, apoklimas are those houses which will grow with time. Okay, just giving the spelling for the benefit. Kendras, Kendra. Kendra. Panafara is Panathara. Panafara. Apoklima, Apoklima. Apoklima. Then comes Trikon, Trikon, Trikon. Okay, Trikon, Trikon. Then Kendras, they are the houses 1, 4, 7, 10. Panafaras are the houses 2, 5, 8, 11. Apoklimas are the houses 3, 6, 9, and 12. Now, why they are known as apoklimas? Because these are the houses that will, that will grow with time. Okay, that will grow with time. For example, the third house is the house of your effort. Okay, as a child, you were not able to put much effort, but as you grew up, you could, you could put more effort in your work and things like that. 6 is the house of, it is the house of artha, the money that is coming in. Okay, it is also the house of enemies. It is also the house of debts. It is also the house of litigations. Okay, as children, we were never in debts, right? But when you grew up, when we went to college, what happened is that we started borrowing money from our friends, of course, to return that money. And there were some friends who never returned our money as well. Okay, so that is the house of, that is the 6th house. 9th is the house of bhagya. Okay, it is the house of bhagya, and you see bhagya will also, a man, it is always said that the man is the master of his own destiny. Okay, so you can actually improve your bhagya as you grow along. Okay, people say, is bhagya fixed? Bhagya is not fixed. Okay, bhagya is not fixed. Events are fixed, but how we how we deal with those events, those are very much those are very much modifiable. Okay, it may be a fixed event that at the age of 15 you may have a paralytic attack, but if you know how to deal with that event, then you can become an immortal. That is why yoga is there. Okay, that is why tantra is there. That is why all the other fields of medicine, all the other fields of knowledge are there. Okay, just a minute, there is a power cut here. Just give me a minute, there is a power cut here. Just give me a minute. I'm really sorry, we are we are having bad weather conditions here. Anyways, so as I said, where was I? Yeah, so apoklimas, they are they are the houses of they are the houses that grow with time. Your bhagya, it grows with time. Okay, you can either make your bhagya or you can break your bhagya, and that will happen by your own actions. Okay, then you have the 12th house, which is also known as an apoklima. Okay, it is also a dusthana, it is also an apoklima. So why the 12th house is an apoklima? Because as you grow, your expenses also start growing. Okay, when you were in a when you were a child, 100 rupees was a lot of money for you, right? But now if someone gives you 100 rupee and asks you to manage the entire month with that 100 rupees, it will be it will be almost impossible, right? So these are the houses that are that are classified, okay, because they grow with time. Okay, then we have the upachaya houses. Upachaya, upachaya. Okay, upachaya houses are the houses 3, 6, 10, and 11. Okay, so these are the houses of competition. These are the houses of struggle. So third house is also the house of your of your bravery. Okay, it indicates how brave you are. A malefic planet like Mars or Rahu in the third house can actually indicate that the person is a great risk taker. Okay, similarly, a planet like Jupiter. Okay, why why Jupiter suffers in the third house is because you are asking a you are asking a priest to take action, which is very, very unlike what a priest does. Okay, 6th, again, it is the house of enemies, it is the house of litigations. Okay, 10th house is how you complete work, and that is also a struggle. Okay, people see, as I have been mentioning repeatedly, never never say the 10th house for your career, always see the 10th house as to how you complete work. Okay, and then the 11th house, this is the house of your gain. Okay, you gain after, after a lot of effort. Okay, money comes in after after you just go and struggle out there in the world to make money. Okay, then we have the we have the dushtanas, which are also known as the trik bhava. Okay, trik, trik bhava. So dushtanas, dushthana. So these are the houses 6, 8, and 12. Okay, they will indicate debt. Okay, the 6th house indicates debt. The 8th house indicates diseases. The 8th house indicates indicates misery. The 12th house, it indicates losses. Okay, and then we have the ayusthana. Okay, ayusthana, or the houses of longevity. Okay, so the ayusthanas, they are the 8th house and the 3rd house. Okay, why 8th house and the 3rd house? Because if you look at the 9th house, okay, if you look at the 9th house is the house of it is the house of dharma, and 12th house from any house will indicate loss. Okay, 12th house from any house will indicate loss. So 8th house is the house of adharma, that means the loss of dharma. Okay, and if you consider if you consider the if you consider the 8th from the 8th house, you will arrive at the 3rd house. That is one way to look at it. The other way, the other way to look at it is that the 2nd house and the 7th house, they are known as the marak houses. They are known as the marakas. Okay, the 2nd house and the 7th house, they are known as the marakas. They are known as the killer houses. That means those houses will give you will give you a death-like experience. Okay, and this can be easily realized. Making wealth is a death-like experience. You put your body on the line every day. While going to work, you put your body on the line, right? Struggle for food is a death-like experience. Okay, for those who are who are born with a silver spoon, it may not be a death-like experience for those, but those who are not who are not born with a silver spoon, you put your body every day, you put your body online every day while struggling for food. So that is a house of maraka. Okay, and all the bad things that enter the body, that that degrade the body, that corrupt the body, they will happen through your mouth. Okay, all the bad things, the planets enter your body through the mouth. Okay, so that is the reason. That is another reason why the 2nd house is known as a marak sthan. Okay, then the 7th house, it is the house of marriage. Okay, so anyways, when you were single, when people were single, I don't know how many married people are here, so you can really understand what an uphill struggle life becomes after you get married. Okay, people have a lot of good things to say about marriages. Even I have a lot of good things to say about marriages, but at the end of the day, life does become an uphill struggle, because you have to come to an agreement with your partner in each and everything. Okay, you have to come to an agreement as to how you're using the bathroom. You have to come to an agreement as to how you're using the toilet seat. You have to come to an agreement as to how you are how you are how you are using your bed. Okay, you will occupy only this portion of the bed, I will occupy this much portion of the bed. So these are the these are the things that can indicate a lot of stress. Okay, so the 2nd to any house is the house of food. Okay, so the 2nd from any house is the house of food, just like the 2nd house itself from the ascendant is the house of food. So the 2nd from any house is the house of food and sustenance. Okay, so 2nd from the 2nd house is the 3rd house. 2nd from the 7th house is the is the 8th house. Okay, that is the reason they are known as the ayusthana, ayusthana. Okay, so they will indicate the length of life and also the death. Okay, and that is actually seen, the circumstances of death are actually seen from the 3rd house of arudha lagna. Okay, the 3rd house from arudha lagna will indicate the circumstances of death. So I have a detailed video on arudha lagna on YouTube. It is there, available for everyone. Please go through that video and see which planets indicate what when they occupy the 3rd house or when they rule the 3rd house from arudha lagna. Okay, so as I said, the marakas.
Can you repeat that about what the last part that you just said?
I said that this 3rd house from arudha lagna will indicate the circumstances of your death.
Ardha lagna.
Arudha lagna. Arudha. ARUDHA. Arudha lagna.
What is that?
Arudha lagna is the image of your, it is the image of your the self-image that you project to the world. Okay, you may be someone else, but whatever we project to the world is completely different. Okay, someone may be a someone may be a very humble person at house. Someone may be a very very shy person at house, but when he has to, but that person may be a DJ, or that person may be an RJ, and he or she might have to go out and be absolutely extroverted before the people. So there is a image that we are projecting. Okay, people, we don't see people as they are. We see people as, as they project themselves to be. Okay, and whatever image you are giving out to the person or to the world, basically, that is known as the Arudha Lagna. Okay.
So is that a specific location in the Kundali?
Yeah, it is there. It is a specific location. It can be calculated. Okay, as I said, I have a
Okay, but it's not like the Lagna where you could physically just look and see it. It takes a calculation.
It takes a calculation, of course. It takes a calculation. Okay, so it's there. The calculation is there in the video. You can all go and watch it out. Okay, I've discussed every house from Arudha Lagna and what it means. Okay, and as I said, the second and the seventh house, they are known as the Marak Sthanas. M-A-R-A-K, Marak Sthanas, S-T-H-A-N-A, Marak Sthana. Okay. Now, if you consider the horoscope as a whole, okay, there is this invisible half and there is this visible half. Then there is this eastern half and there is this western half. Okay, so the point being, the houses 1 to 7, they indicate the invisible half. Okay, the houses 1 to 7, they indicate the invisible half, and the houses 7 to 1, they indicate the visible half of the horoscope. Okay, again, the houses 10 to 4, they will indicate the eastern half, and the houses 4 to 10, they will indicate the western half of the horoscope. All right, so I'll come to the significations of the 12 houses later on. Okay, and just come to the significations after discussing the planets. Okay, so the planets, we have 9 planets in Vedic astrology. Okay, I have discussed in the first class as to why we do not consider Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Okay, they are of course there. We don't really we don't really deny their significations. They are there. But in Vedic astrology, we are more interested in studying the individual karmic impressions. Okay, whereas the outer planets, that means Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they will signify the collective karma. All right, and then there are certain other planets which are known as upagraha. For example, Gulika or Mandi or Dhuma. These are known as upagrahas. So those signify something else. Okay, maybe we can have a discussion on those planets at a later date. Okay, they are known as upagrahas or the aprakash grahas. Okay, so for the benefit of everyone, I always encourage you to know the planets by their Vedic names instead of their English equivalents. So sun is known as Ravi, or it is known as Surya. Moon is known as Chandra. Mars is known as Mangala. Mercury is known as Buddha. Jupiter is known as Guru or Brahaspati. Okay, Venus is known as Shukra. Saturn is known as Shani. Rahu is, it is also known as the dragon's head. It is also known as the northern node. Ketu, it is known as the dragon's tail, or it is known as the southern node. Okay, so what we have to do is that we have to study the physical attributes of the planets. Okay, and regarding the significations of the planet, what they imply and what they do not imply, I'll just keep on making videos every week so that you can study those significations from there. Okay, so the sun, it has a square build. Okay, it has curly hair. All right, I'm giving you the appearance of the graha devatas. Okay, it has curly hair. The appearance is very, very lovely, and these are from the graha guna swarupaya adhyaya of the BPHS. Okay, it is intelligent. Okay, it has an impressive voice. The stature is medium. It has red eyes, dark red complexion. Okay, strong bones. The nature is bilious, firm temperament, and it is always dressed in saffron. Okay, the moon, it has a slim but roundish body. It is very, very beautiful in appearance. Okay, it has lovely eyes, very sweet tongue, and phlegm and wind is his composition. That means vata. Okay, and sorry, kapha. Then we have the it is white in complexion. It has short curly hair. The nature is very, very amiable. Okay, the moon is only one planet that does not have any enemies. Okay, the moon is only one planet that does not have any enemies. All right, it can form an association with anything and everything. Okay, it is sattvic in nature. The sun is also sattvic in nature. It has the wisdom to discriminate. Okay, it is very restless, however. Okay, you see how the moon travels very, very quickly, you know, from one sign to the other, say in only 2.5 days. Okay, it is very, very restless. It has excessive sexual urge. Okay, the sexual urge of the moon is very, very excessive. That is the reason it has 27 wives, which are known as the nakshatras. Okay, and that is the reason why the moon was punished by Dasha to wax and wane. Okay, maybe we can have a session on the, you know, on the mythology of the planets later on. Okay, then the moon is always dressed in white, just like the sun is dressed in saffron. The moon is always dressed in white. Okay, Mars is characterized by fierce red eyes. Okay, it will have a short stature. It has a, you know, it has a very youthful body. That is the reason Mars is, or Mangala is also known as Kumara. Okay, it is, you know, it is fickle minded, and it has short and curly hair. Okay, because it is the, you know, it is the commander in chief of the planets. It has a very valorous nature. Okay, Mars or Mangala, it is a, you know, it is a Devata Graha. Okay, it is a Devata Graha. Just hold on. Okay, so power is restored. Anyways, so as I said, Mars is a Devata Graha, just like the sun and moon, but it has, you know, it has a tamasic nature. Okay, it has an eagerness to hurt, just like the soldier is always ready to fight, ready to kill. So Mars has an eagerness to hurt. Okay, and all the accidents that are there, that you see, they are caused by Mars. Okay, it gets very easily, it gets excited very, very easily. Okay, it has a bilious disposition and a fair complexion. Okay, then a Mercury, it has a slim and a beautiful body. Okay, it is the bastard child of the moon. That is the reason it also inherits all the characteristics of the moon. Okay, so, you know, it has large reddish eyes, dark green complexion, healthy skin, medium height. The speech is very, very clear and witty because, you know, the womb was of Jupiter's wife. Okay, Mercury, although it is the bastard child of the moon, the, you know, the moon, it impregnated Jupiter's wife, and resultant the result that came out was Mercury. Okay, so he has a very clear and witty speech. Okay, and he has a forked tongue. That means his expressions will come with multiple meanings. Okay, he is rajasic in nature. That means always on the urge to create. He has plenty of energy. Okay, he has plenty of energy, and you know, wind and phlegm is the composition. That means kapha, and you know, he's always dressed in, you know, he's always dressed in green. Okay, then Jupiter, he has a big belly and a fat body. Okay, that is the reason Jupiter rules fats in the body. His eyes are pale. He is very, very virtuous. Okay, and he has a kapha temperament. He is highly skilled in the knowledge of scriptures and sciences. Okay, then you know, he has a bright yellow complexion. He is sattvic in nature. Okay, he is very, very intelligent. He is keen in religious pursuits. He has a very forgiving nature, and he is always dressed in yellow. Okay, so Venus, like Jupiter, is very, very skilled in the scriptures, but, you know, like Jupiter gives us godly knowledge, Venus gives us worldly knowledge. Okay, so Venus is dark brown and handsome. Okay, his limbs are symmetrical, and his hair is curly and dark. He is a poet. Okay, Venus is a poet, and anyone who does good poetry, who writes good poetry, that person will have a very prominent Venus in the chart. Okay, he has long arms, broad chest, excessive seminal fluid. You know, one of the names for Shukra is Shuka. Okay, so Shuka means semen. Okay, Shuka means semen. And then he has a Vata nature. Okay, the nature also is Rajasic. He is very intelligent. He is very, very wise, and his, you know, his dress is multicolored. Okay, people confuse, you know, people confuse silver to be the color of Venus. It is one of the colors, but we'll always find Venus in multiple colors. Okay. Then Saturn, he is tall, his teeth are cracked. Okay, he is lean, he has a weak body, he has a dark complexion, his hair is stiff, his limbs are stiff, he is always having a limp in his walk. Okay. He signifies laziness. Okay, just like Mars signifies activity, Saturn signifies laziness. Okay, he has a Vata temperament. He is very, very cruel. Okay, the attitude is tamasic. He is lame, he is dark, and he is always dressed in black shabby robes. Okay, Rahu and Ketu, they have a bluish complexion. Okay, they resemble, they have a smoky appearance. They are wild. Okay, they are wild because these are the planets then that those don't recognize boundaries. Okay, by wild I mean that they are not, they don't recognize boundaries. Okay, then they are intelligent. Okay, they are very, very intelligent. In fact, 3 planets have been Parashara has said that 3 planets are supremely intelligent. One is Surya, the other is Guru, and the third is Rahu. Okay, they are very, very intelligent, and they always signify breaking boundaries. Okay, the color of the difference in the color of Rahu and the Shani is that Shani represents the dull black and Rahu represents the flamboyant black. Okay, blue is always the color of Rahu. Blue is never associated with Shani. Okay. Then we have the lordship of the lordship of the signs. Okay, Surya is the owner of Simha, that means Leo. Moon is the owner of Cancer, but Moon will also co-own Taurus. Okay, because the Moon exalts in Taurus, and the principle is that any planet which exalts in a particular sign will also co-own that particular sign. Okay, so Mars owns Mesha. Okay, Surya will also co-own Mesha because Surya exalts in Mesha. Mars owns Vrishchika, that means Scorpio. Mercury owns Mithuna. Mercury also owns Kanya, but Kanya is also co-owned by Rahu because Rahu exalts in Kanya. Some people will take it to be Mithuna, but that is fine. Okay. Jupiter, it owns it owns Dhanu, it owns Meena, but Meena is also co-owned by Venus because Venus exalts there. Okay, Venus exalts in Pisces. Then Venus owns Vrishabha. Okay, Venus owns Tula. Saturn, it owns Makara. Okay, Saturn, it owns Kumbha. Saturn also co-owns Libra or Tula because Saturn exalts there. Okay, Rahu and Ketu, they are not given the ownership of any sign, but then in my personal experience, Rahu has the co-ownership of Kumbha, that means Aquarius, and Ketu has the co-ownership of Scorpio. Okay. Then we have the castes. Okay, by castes I mean Varna. I don't mean.
Darshiji, can you just repeat where each graha is exalted again? Thank you.
Yeah, Surya exalts in Mesha. Okay, Surya exalts in Mesha. Chandra exalts in Vrishabha. Mangala exalts in it exalts in Makara. Okay, Mangala exalts in Makara. So Makara is also co-owned by Mangala. Okay, Buddha exalts in Virgo. Then Guru, it exalts in Cancer. Okay, Shukra exalts in Meena. Shani exalts in Tula. Okay, Rahu exalts, in my opinion, Rahu exalts in Virgo. Some people will say that Rahu exalts in Gemini. That is also fine. And Ketu, in my opinion, it exalts in it exalts in Sagittarius. Okay, but some people will say Ketu exalts in in Pisces, but that is also okay. All right. Then we have the castes. By caste, I don't mean jati. I mean varna. Okay, there are 2 different terms. Okay, so Jupiter and Venus, they are Brahmin planets. Surya and Mangala, they are Kshatriyas. Moon and Mercury, Mercury and Venus. Moon and Mercury, they are Vaishyas. That means they belong to the business class. And finally, we have Saturn, which is a Shudra planet, which is an outcast. Okay. And Rahu and Ketu, they will not have a caste because they don't have a body. All right. Then we have the nature. Okay, Sattvic planets. We have Surya, Chandra, and Guru. Rajasic planets. We have Mercury and Venus. Tamasic planets. We have Mars and Saturn. Okay, and with respect to the Kalpurush chart, the sun is the soul. Okay, the sun is the soul. The moon is the manas. Okay, the entire mind. Mars is your action. Okay, Mars is your action. Mercury is your conscious mind, is your speech. Okay, Jupiter represents wisdom and comforts and abundance. Venus is the seminal fluid. Okay, Venus also represents wealth. Okay, Jupiter represents abundance, Venus represents wealth. Okay, Saturn represents dukkha. Okay, all the miseries in life, they are represented by Saturn. All right, then if you come to the social status, Sun plays the role of the king, Moon plays the role of the queen, Mars is the commander-in-chief of the Sun and Moon, Mercury is the prince. Okay, Jupiter and Venus are the ministers of the Sun, Saturn is the servant, and Rahu and Ketu, they are the armies of Mars. Okay, Rahu represents the army. Rahu represents those soldiers from the from the opposite camp who are yet to be conquered. Ketu represents those soldiers from the opposite camp who have been conquered and are now owned by Mars. Okay, so this is an important distinction to remember. Okay, then we have the
Repeat that distinction, please.
Yeah, Rahu represents those soldiers from the opposite camp who have not been conquered but will be conquered. Ketu represents those soldiers who have been conquered and are now under the command of Mars. Okay. So next we have the gender of the planets. Okay, Sun, Mars, and Jupiter represents the masculine gender. Moon and Venus are of course feminine, and Mercury and Saturn, they are the neuter gender or the eunuch gender. Okay, they are known as the eunuch planets. And that is the reason, because Mercury and Saturn are eunuch grahas, all the problems that are created by Mercury and Saturn, they don't easily go away. Okay, this is a principle that is used in medical astrology. Okay, for example, Mercury will always cause skin problems, and skin problem is one problem which will not go away. You can spend millions in your treatment, but it will not go away that easily. Okay, similarly Saturn, it causes pain. Okay, pains are those which we slowly which we gain as we age, right? People have spinal problems because of Saturn. Okay, it can be treated very easily at the snap of a finger, but you can spend millions and millions on spinal problems, but it will still not get cured. Okay, if you don't know how to cure it, that is. And then then comes the rulership over body constituents. Okay, the Sun rule bones. Okay, this is a part of medical astrology. The Sun will rule bones. Okay, Mars, it will Moon will rule blood. Okay, people think that Mars rules blood. It is not true. Okay, Mars rules the hemoglobin that is there in the blood, but the rulership of blood is with Moon. Okay, Mars represents the marrow. Mars also represents the nerves. Okay, this is one confusion that is always there. Okay, so people always think the nerves is ruled by Mercury. No, nerves are always ruled by Mars. Okay, because Mars is the commander-in-chief, right? Then Mercury, it has the rulership of skin. Jupiter rules fats. Venus rules the seminal fluid, and Saturn, it will rule muscles. Okay, Saturn will rule muscles. All right. Then we have the planet, the representative places of planets. Sun, Sun represents temple. Okay, Moon represents the any watery places. Okay, Mars represents places of fire. Mercury represents playgrounds. Jupiter, it represents treasure houses. Venus, of course, because it is the Sukha Karka, it represents bedroom and vehicles. Saturn, all the dirty places and the sites of garbage disposal. Okay. Then the directions of the planets are also very, very important. Okay, the Sun rules east direction. Moon rules northwest. Okay, Mars rules south. Mercury rules north. Jupiter rules northeast. Venus rules southeast. Saturn rules west. And Rahu, it rules southwest. Okay, Rahu and Ketu, they will both rule southwest. Okay, and yeah,
Deepanshu, can you go through the directions again? Thanks.
yeah. Sun rules east, Moon rules northwest, Mars rules south, Mercury rules north, Jupiter rules southeast, Saturn rules west, Rahu rules southwest. Okay, Ketu rules northwest. Okay, it's not southwest. Ketu rules northwest.
What about Guru?
Guru
No,
rules,
sorry, what about Venus? Venus.
Venus rules southeast. Venus
What
rules,
about, oh, then what about Guru?
Guru rules northeast. Okay.
Northeast.
Yeah,
Okay.
Guru rules northeast.
Take
And
it.
how you can, how you can use these directions. Okay, just tell you how you can use these directions. 10th from Jupiter. Okay, 10th from Jupiter will give you the direction of success, right? If you are looking for, if you're looking for the success, if you are looking to find out where you will actually succeed the most, just see Jupiter and count 10 places from it. The house ruled by that planet will give you success. For example, suppose Jupiter is in the, suppose Jupiter is in the 6th house, then 10th from Jupiter is the 3rd house. Okay, right? See what planet is ruling the 3rd house and see the direction of that planet. Okay, that will indicate where you will find this, where you will find success. Okay, similarly, directions are also used in prashna. Okay, suppose you are casting a prashna chart for someone or for some object that is lost. Okay, and suppose the prashna is rising with Saturn, so you can tell the person that the lost object is is in the west direction. Okay, these are some ways as to how you can use directions. Okay, then we come to something which is known as the directional strength. Okay, which we it is also known as digbala. Okay, it is also known as digbala, and there is also an added concept which is known as digshunya. Okay, dig means direction, bala means strength, shunya means loss of strength. Okay, so digbala and digshunya are related concepts. So Mercury, it is not about the house. Okay, it's about the direction of the sign. Okay, it is about the direction of the sign. So Mercury, Jupiter, and Sun, it gets digbala in the east. So the house that lies in the east is the lagna or the 10th or the 1st house. Okay, Mercury, Jupiter, and Sun, they get digbala in the east direction. And the house that rises in the east is the lagna or the 1st house. Okay. Conversely, Mercury, Jupiter, and Sun become dikshunya in the west. That means in the 7th house, they will become dikshunya. All right. Then again, Sun. So Sun is one planet that gets digbala in 2 directions. Sun gets digbala in the east. Sun also gets digbala in the south. Okay. So Sun and Mars will get digbala in the south. That means in the 10th house. And Sun and Mars become dikshunya in the 4th house. That means in the north. Okay. Venus and Moon. Okay. Venus and Moon. They will get digbala in the 4th house. That means in the northern direction. They become dikshunya in the 10th house. Okay, you don't want Venus and Moon to go to the 10th house. Similarly, you don't want Sun and Mars to go to the 4th house. You don't want Mercury, Jupiter, or the Sun to go to the 7th house. Okay, Saturn, it gets digbala in the 7th house. Okay, Saturn gets digbala in the 7th house, which is the west direction, and it becomes dikshunya in the 1st house. So you don't want the 1st house Saturn. Okay, you don't want the 1st house Saturn. Rahu, it gets digbala in the 6th house, and Ketu, it gets digbala in the 12th house. Okay, Ketu gets digbala in the 12th house. All right. Then we come to
On that, Devashiji, so on that note, you don't want Rahu in the northwest, is that right?
yeah,
No,
you don't want Rahu in the 12th house. You don't want Ketu in the 6th house.
Right. So that would be the direction of you don't want Rahu in the northwest and you don't want Ketu in the southwest.
Right, right.
Gotcha.
So next we have the malefics and the benefics. Okay, so natural benefics, they are Moon, they are Moon in decreasing order. Jupiter is the most benefic planet, followed by Venus, followed by Moon, and then there is unafflicted Mercury. Okay, just look at the condition. Okay, unafflicted Mercury. Okay, Mercury has to be unafflicted by other malefics for it to behave as a benefic. Okay, and the moon has to be waning. Okay, waxing moon is not benefic. Okay, natural malefics again in increasing order. Mars is the most malefic, followed by Saturn, followed by Rahu, followed by Ketu, and finally we have Surya. Okay, Surya is not exactly a benefic, sorry, not exactly a malefic, but it is not exactly a benefic either. Okay, Surya is not exactly a benefic either. It is a Krura Graha. Krura means a cruel Graha. Okay, you've seen how your father behaves, right? You've seen how your father behaves. Your father will always be strict with you to give you direction. The sun behaves in the same way. Okay, and if you want to know how cruel the sun is, just spend 1 hour in the sun in the midst of summer from 12 to 1 p.m. You'll understand how cruel the sun can be. Okay, so natural benefics, Jupiter is the most benefic planet, followed by Venus, followed by moon, which is waning. Okay, that is the Shukla Paksha moon, and followed by unafflicted Mercury. Okay, Mercury cannot act as a benefic if it is afflicted by other malefics. Natural malefics, Mars is the most malefic, followed by Saturn, then Rahu, then Ketu, and finally Surya.
Devashi, sorry, just to clarify, did you change the order because you said Guru is the most benefic, followed by
followed by Venus,
Moon, and followed by Mercury?
Yeah.
So then what if, because then you mentioned, so what if the moon is waxing? Is it still number 3?
No. I'm just saying that Mercury and Moon, they will have the same level of beneficence. Okay, they will have the same level of beneficence.
Whether it's waxing or waning.
No, it has to be waning. It has to be waning. Waxing moon is not benefic. Okay, waxing moon is not benefic.
Waxing moon is not benefic?
Waxing moon is not benefic.
You mean really? When it's getting bigger, it's not benefic?
No. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Yeah. Waxing moon is benefic. Waning moon is not benefic. Really sorry.
But is it still number 3 in the order?
Yeah. So, it'll still be number 3. Moon and Mercury, they will almost have the same level of beneficence, because at the end of the day, Mercury and Moon, they are father son. Okay, they are father son. But the waxing moon will be a benefic one. The waning moon will not be a benefic.
What about if it's a waning moon, but it's still very bright, like the second or third,
It is, but at the end of the day, it still loses its qualities. Okay, it still loses its qualities.
So Rahu is more malefic, less malefic than Mars and Saturn.
Yeah, Rahu is less malefic than Mars and Saturn. The number 1 malefic is Mars. Okay, I'll tell you why. Look at all the planets. Okay, you classify the planets as Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. You see where the planets will exalt. Okay, Jupiter is a Sattva planet and it exalts in Cancer, right? So a Sattva planet getting exalted in a Sattvic sign, that is the reason it becomes the most benefic. You look at Saturn. Saturn will always exalt in Libra or Tula, which is a Rajasic sign. So a Tamasic Graha exalting in a Rajasic sign, it loses its malefic nature somehow. But if you look at Mars, it is not only a Tamasic planet, it is also getting exalted in a Tamasic sign like Capricorn. So that is the reason Mars is the most malefic. Rahu, you look at it, it is a Tamasic planet, but where is it getting exalted? It is getting exalted either in Virgo or in Gemini, which is a Rajasic sign. So Rahu is less malefic as compared to Mars. Okay, just ask someone who has Mars in the first house, either in the Rashi or in the Navamsha. The life will become miserable, absolutely miserable, because Mars will always destroy one part or one significance of the house where it sits. It will always destroy one significance of the house where it sits, because Mars has a son whose name is Mrityu, and he carries that son wherever he goes. Okay, so Mrityu, he kills one significance of the house that Mars is occupying. Okay, so that is the reason Mars is the most malefic. All right, people find it difficult to believe that, oh my God, Saturn is the most malefic. What are you saying? Just have a Mars Dasha. Saturn may be a malefic planet, but that 19 years of Saturn Dasha will not turn into a criminal. Okay, in my all my years of practicing Vedic astrology, I have not found one person, a single person, who has done bad things, even if things have gone horribly wrong during those 19 years of Saturn Dasha. But Mars will have only 8 years in his Dasha, and it can easily turn a person to a die-hard criminal, easily. Okay, that is the difference between Saturn and Mars.
Right. So in a way, though, I think now that you explain it like that, maybe, right, the person with the Mars, they very much externalize, though, their affliction, right? So it ends up hitting other people, right? Like you said,
It could be. Because at the end of the day, a planet is always a dosha. Wherever a
do
planet,
that, you internalize, like you suffer internally.
wherever a planet is sitting, it is always a dosha. Okay, it is always a dosha. Mars will be sitting in Capricorn, that is fine. But at the end of the day, it's still a problem. It's still a trauma. That is the reason, there is some trauma there in Capricorn, for which Mars is sitting there. Guru may be sitting in Cancer, but there is some trauma in Cancer for which Guru is sitting there. Okay, and the aim of this life is to remove that trauma. Okay.
Wait, I thought you said that you're saying that if Guru is sitting in Cancer, there's some trauma there?
Anywhere, any planet sitting anywhere, it could be in a very good position. Okay, Venus may be exalted in the 4th house of Pisces. It is still a trauma.
What do you mean by trauma? Like, can you
Trauma
explain
is
it?
a subconscious impression that you have carried from your previous life, and
Oh, a
that's
samskara.
is in the form of samskara, and that samskara is going to ripen somehow, and it's going to bring you events which may be good, which may be bad, but it's still a trauma.
Okay, that's interesting. Can you the Guru is the most sattvic because it's a sattvic graha exalted in a sattvic sign.
Right.
And then you said Rahu is tamasic graha exalted in a rajasic sign. Is that right?
Right.
And what was the one that you gave?
Mars
think-
is a tamasic graha that exalts in the tamasic sign of Capricorn. That's what I was saying.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So because tamasic and tamasic,
Yeah,
that
it becomes more tamasic, right?
so and then you gave one though. You gave one before Mars. Was it Venus?
No,
Saturn.
I said Saturn.
What was the Saturn one?
Saturn, it being a tamasic graha, it exalts in the rajasic sign of Libra.
So, so that's why the order is so tamasic. But so Rahu and Saturn are both tamasic signs.
They are tamasic grahas.
I mean, tamasic graha. Sorry, and they both exalt in rajasic signs.
Right. So they are losing a bit of their tamasic nature there.
So what puts Saturn? Because someone else asked this. What puts Saturn more malefic before Rahu?
Okay, because Libra is more, it is more rajasic as compared to Venus, or sorry, it's more rajasic as compared to Gemini or Virgo.
Okay.
Okay.
That's very helpful. Thank you, Devarshiji, for taking that extra step.
Yeah. So next we come to exaltation, debilitation, and Mool Trikorna. So exaltation is a state of highest happiness. Okay, just remember these terms. Exaltation is the state of highest happiness. Debilitation is the state of highest unhappiness. Okay. Mool Trikorna is where the planet is very, very comfortable. Okay, Mool Trikorna is where the planet is very, very comfortable. Exaltation, as I said, it is the state of highest happiness. It also indicates the Sanskrit word for exaltation is Ucha. Ucha, U-C-H-A, Ucha. Ucha means the activities of the planet are very, very sattvic. The intentions are very, very pure. Okay, exaltation means the intentions are very, very pure. Debilitation, the Sanskrit word is Neech. Neech means the intentions are very, very bad. Okay, whatever you do, okay, whichever planet is getting debilitated, that planet will always, will always have bad intentions regarding the things, regarding the people, regarding the places signified by that planet. Whatever planet is in exaltation, You'll always have good intentions regarding the people, regarding the things, regarding the places that are represented by that planet. For example, if Surya is exalted, you'll have very, very good intentions for your father. Venus is debilitated, you'd have very, very bad intentions for your spouse, no matter what your spouse, no matter how much your spouse tries to love you or tries to make life comfortable for you. Mool Trikona is a place where the planet is very, very comfortable. For example, if the moon is in Mool Trikona, you will feel extreme level of comfort with your mother. Okay, when your mother is around you, you'll be very, very comfortable. Suppose Saturn is in Mool Trikona, you will be very, very comfortable with your servants. Okay, now the thing is that you have to notice the degrees. Okay, exaltation degrees, debilation degrees, and Mool Trikona degrees. Just by just by the presence of the sun in Aries, it does not get exalted. It has to be in the exact degrees to get exalted. Okay, people miss this point, right? The sun is in Aries, people think it is exalted, and then they will come to the astrologer. Why is it not giving me results? Because it is not giving you results because it is not in 10 degree Aries. Okay, someone will say that I have a exalted Mars in Capricorn. Why is it not giving me results? Because it is not in 28 degrees. It may be in 5 degrees. It may be in 25 degrees. Okay, it has to be in 28 degrees to give you results. Okay, yeah, Anuradha ji, please tell me.
Sir, I want to know about this exaltation because I have read in some books that exaltation is also a range. So you're saying it has to be on that exact degree?
Yeah, it has to be on this exact degree. Okay, Mula Trikona is a range. Mula Trikona is a range. Okay, that is the reason
so it's
why.
Just one particular day or one particular slice of time that the planet is in
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That is the reason, that is the reason most exalted and debilitated planets will never give you 100% results, because it has to be on the exact degrees. You'll see people going and crying to the astrologer, oh my God, my moon is in Taurus. Why am I having a bad relationship with my mother? Because it's not in 3 degree Taurus. It might be in 29 degree Taurus. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, there was this person who, came to me crying, boo hoo hoo, my Venus is in Pisces. Still my wife hates me, boo hoo hoo. I said, your wife will not love you unless and until you stop crying. Please stop crying and see what degrees you have of Venus. Okay, so this is the range. All right, and you have to remember this chart. Right? Now, the natural mutual relationships of planets. Okay, so the planets will have friends, enemies, and neutrals, right? If you look at it. So what happens is, planets, according to their nature, they will be disposed as friends or enemies or neutrals towards other planets. Okay, and this table is by is from the Brihad Jataka Varaha Mihira. Okay, so according to Varaha Mihira, the lords of the exaltation signs, okay, the lords of the exaltation signs of a planet, and also the planets which are owning houses 2, 12, 5, 9, 4, 8 from the Mula Trikona sign are the natural friends of a planet. Okay, you don't have to remember, don't have to remember the principle, but you just have to remember this table. Who is a friend of whom? Okay, so this is the natural mutual relationship of planets according to Varaha Mihira. Okay, then there is also this temporal relationship. Okay, this is a temporary relationship that is there. Okay, so besides their natural disposition as friends or enemies or neutrals, planets become friends or enemies of each other depending upon the location of a horoscopic chart. Okay, for example, if a planet is located in in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 10th, 11th, and 12th from any planet, it becomes its temporary friend. Okay, similarly, if a planet is located in 1st, okay, in 6th, sorry, in 1st, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th from any planet will become the temporary enemies. Okay, so you don't have to remember the principles. The principles will not serve you, but what will serve you is the is this table, basically. Okay. So on the basis of their temporal and natural disposition towards each other, the planets will have 5 grades of relationships. So friend of a friend is a bosom friend. Friend and enemy is a neutral. Neutral and friend is a friend. Neutral and enemy is enemy. Enemy and friend is neutral. Enemy and enemy are bitter enemies. Okay. So in the next class, we'll just deal with aspects. We'll deal with combustion. We'll deal with retrogression. So we'll not go into details regarding combustion and retrogression because that will take around 2 to 3 classes. That is for the advanced version if we have it later on. But we have to know how planets behave when they become combust. We have to know how planets behave when they become retrograde, and we have to know what the aspects of each planet signify. Okay, all the aspects. A planet will always aspect the the 7th house from itself. Okay, that is the desire of the planet. Okay, it is known as kama drishti. But then there are other aspects as well. For example, the 3rd aspect of Saturn, which is very, very difficult, or the 9th aspect of Jupiter, which is very, very traumatic in a sense. So we'll discuss that in the next class. Okay, so that's it in this class. If you have any questions, I'm open to it.
Yeah, Devashiji, thank you. I have a few questions. Can you go over the, so it's Panapada is 2, 5, and 8 and 11. And what does that mean in English? Padapana.
To tell you the houses, that's what you were saying?
Yeah, the Bhavas. Yeah, you said a Padapana.
Yeah, it is known as successant.
Successant?
Yeah, successant.
What does that mean?
Successant? No, I don't know. Successant, it should mean successive. Okay, it should mean successive. But these are the terms that that I've taken.
What does it indicate? Do you know what it indicates?
Not getting your question.
What does it indicate? Successant.
See, the thing is that they've just the kendras, they are just known as quadrants. Okay, they're just known as the quadrants. So
no, but 2, 5, 8, and 11.
They are indicating sudden and transformative events.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but also because they're not kendras?
No, even other houses are not kendras, isn't it? The apoklimas are not kendras, right?
Okay, you said they're not. Okay, sudden and transformative events are the
Panafaras.
Parafanas. Okay, and then you said Harasthana is the seat of Rudra.
Yeah, Harasthana is the seat of Rudra, yes.
And how did we get to, is that the 11th, how did we get to that?
Because, just like Vishnu sits in the kendras, so Shiva sits in the 11th house.
Okay.
And
So
will sit in the trikonas, the trines.
Right. You said that Lakshmi 1, 5, and 9, those are more auspicious than kendras.
Right.
I've never heard that before. That's very interesting. So Shiva sits in the 11th house, and then you said Vishnu sits in the trikonas?
The kendras. Lakshmi sits in the trikonas.
The kendras. Okay. So what is, and then you said the apoklima, Apoklimah, is that right?
Yeah. Not Apoklimah, apoklima.
Okay. So they are the karma in the karma in those houses grow with time.
Right.
Okay. So you mentioned, and then you said the Upachaya is 3, 6, 10, and 11, and these are the houses of struggle.
Yeah, struggle and competition, basically.
So you mentioned, and so you said, for example, 3rd is the house of courage, and you mentioned something about if Mars is there, but then you mentioned if.
Yeah, I said that if Jupiter is there, it becomes very, very uncomfortable because you're not expecting a Sattvic planet or a Brahman planet like Jupiter to display courage in the world.
Okay, that's really interesting. That is really interesting. What about like comfortable? Not very comfortable. So in a way, it's not a debilitation, but in a way, it's not that planet's comfort zone, right?
An uncomfortable position.
Yeah. So what about like Venus and Saturn?
Venus will feel very, very uncomfortable in the, Venus will feel very, very uncomfortable in the sixth house. Okay. Because sixth house is the house of love, right? Venus is the planet of love, and sixth house is the house of competition. So you cannot compete with someone you love. Okay. Or rather, if you love someone, you cannot compete with that person. Okay. You cannot fall in love with your competitor. Otherwise that, that competition will not hold. So Venus becomes very, very uncomfortable in the sixth house. Saturn becomes very, very uncomfortable in the first house. Why? Because the first house is the house of decision making. And Saturn is the servant. A servant, if you put a servant in a place to make decisions, then that planet becomes very, very uncomfortable. Okay.
Interesting.
Mars becomes very, very uncomfortable in the seventh house. Why? Because seventh house is the house of marriage. Seventh house is the it's the house where you have to listen to the spouse. So you cannot expect a commander-in-chief to just go and enter the kitchen and do something for his spouse.
Oh, that explains a lot. Okay. Okay. You said that let's see. So then you said the third bhava is the house of rubber, the sixth bhava is the house of artha, enemies, debts, and litigation. And the ninth house is bhagya, and it isn't. So could you explain to me what bhagya is?
Bhagya is an accumulation of all the good karmas that you have, that you have inherited, all the bad karmas that you have inherited. And those karmas, they are not really karmas, they are, they are samskaras. They will, they will either ripen into karmas. All the samskaras will not ripen into karmas. Only a fixed amount of samskaras will ripen into karmas. Okay. And those fixed amount of karmas are already pre-decided. Okay, these karmas these karmas are there, and the person will experience these karmas in this lifetime. But the divine is so kind that it has given us a it has given us a way as to how we can just catch those samskaras and throw them out before they manifest. Okay, we are that.
What was that sentence? Before they manifest?
Yeah, we can throw out the samskaras before they manifest. That is the power we have.
Is that through, and how do we do that? Is that through?
That is for that you have to wait for Satyam Shivam Sundaram to come up. Okay, so I'll explain that there is a process how to do it.
What was the word? You have to wait for what?
You have to wait for my flagship program to be out for that. Okay, so
okay, that's the name. You said the name. Okay.
Yeah, it is Satyam Shivam Sundaram, because that is a truth that we are, we are Shiva. Okay, we are forms of Shiva. And just like Shiva has the karma to throw up a smar, you've seen the image of Natraj dancing on top of a demon. Okay, so that demon is the samskara. The demon is the, it is the samskara. It is the samskara that we have inherited. And as Shiva, we have the power to just dance over the samskara and just throw it out of the system. You've seen how people throw out a fly from the milk like this. So you can also do it. There's a way to do it.
There's a way to do it. Okay. Is that because each is, I guess I'm trying, is that because each, is that based on the Hadasthana?
No. It's not based on Hadasthana. Hadasthana is of course the 11th house. Okay. But then just before Rudra fires his Trishul, that Rudra just firing his Trishul represents the ripening of our samskaras.
Mm-hmm.
He will fire his Trishul from the 8th house. Right? I've told you he'll fire his Trishul from the 8th house. So just before Rudra fires his Trishul, we have to, we can rather, not have to, we can. It's not a compulsion. You can still suffer your karmas and then, be miserable. So we have the power or the ability to just catch it and just throw it out of it.
What's the word that he fires from the 8th house? What's that word? Trishul?
He fires his Trishul, yeah. He fires his Trishul.
What is that?
Trishul is the trident that Shiva holds. The trident that Shiva holds, the three-pointed sphere.
Okay. Can you spell it?
Trident. Trident. Trident.
Not in the English, the other word you use.
Trishul. Trishul. It is the Trishul.
Okay, thanks. You said the 10th bhava is how you complete work, and your.
Complete work.
So what does that mean? How you complete?
See, everyone can start something, right? But then there are people who can just complete work in one go, and then there are people who will do that same work in 2 to 3 years. Okay. So there's
Okay.
some people are very good starters, some people are very good finishers. Right. Some people are very good starters as well as good finishers. Some people are excellent starters, but pathetic finishers. Some people are shaky starters, but very good finishers. 10th house is everything related to how you complete your work. It has
Okay.
to do with with your career, with your karma, as we have been taught in myths, in astro myths. That is,
Okay. Then you said the 6, 8, and 12 are Dusthana.
they are the dushtanas. Yes.
And you said that indicates, is it suffering?
Sorry. It
You
indicates,
s-
yeah, it indicates miseries. It indicates miseries because the dushtanas are always, they are always in a way to attack the kendras, because the kendras are the foundations. Okay. And what do miseries do? They will shake up your foundations, right?
So how would it work if there was a exalted, what did you call it? A mula trikona, what did you call it? A mula
Yeah,
trikona
Mula Trikona Graha, you're saying?
in a Dusthana. How would that work?
That will work. Suppose let's consider the sixth house. Okay, suppose let's consider the sixth house. So what happens is that if you have a Jupiter in the sixth house in Mool Trikona, what will happen is that people will come to fight with you, but they will run away by looking at your good nature. Okay. Or suppose you have a Mars in the sixth house. So, you'll just go and fight with enemies and usually overcome them as well. Okay. Suppose someone having a Mars in the sixth house, they will have no enemies. But then there are pitfalls to it as well. Okay. If Jupiter is in the sixth house, it will give you, it'll give you no enemies, but it will give you a lot of diseases.
Okay, interesting.
And similarly,
You said,
similarly, Mars, it will give you no, it'll give you, it'll give you no diseases, but it will give you a lot of enemies.
Mhm. Okay. You said the longevity babas are 8 and 3.
Right.
And then you said the Markstanas are 2nd and 7.
Right.
So they're death-like experiences.
Yes.
And you said that planets, so could you expand on this? You said planets enter the body through the mouth.
Right. Yes,
does that?
because at the end of the day, your interaction with the world is happening through food. Food is the only thing which is external to you, and you're putting it in the system. How else can the planets enter if they are not entering through if they are not entering through the food? You can tell me, what about air? Air is also being consumed by the mouth, isn't it? As I'm talking, I'm consuming air, I'm releasing air.
So I guess I want an example, like how would somebody that had, I don't know, like let's say you wanted to create more balance in your life, or like how would it be that you're saying what the food is, how would you balance the planets by that?
What can be done is that if you suppose you want to balance a planet, you just fast on the day of that planet. Okay, that is one thing you can do, or you give up the food related to that planet. For example, you want to balance Jupiter, either fast on a Thursday or give up sweet things. Jupiter is balanced there.
So like, what about in the case of, let's say, the shadow planets like Rahu and Ketu?
Rahu will represent chocolates and mushrooms.
Really?
It will represent chocolates and mushrooms. Okay. Ketu will represent spicy foods. Okay. Ketu will represent spicy foods.
So then what about Mars?
Mars represents the hot foods. Mars represents foods that are energetic. Okay.
You mean spicy foods like Ketu?
No, not spicy, hot food. Suppose some people are there who will just, just give them tea and they'll just gulp down in one, in one go. I've seen people, especially this happens in India. We are at 40-degree temperatures. People can just gulp down gulp down a boiling cup of tea as if it was just plain water. So that is Mars.
Okay, what about Mercury?
Mercury represents mixed foods. Okay, it's foods that are a mixture of sweet, of salty, of tangy, of everything.
Since you have started on this topic, please tell the rest also.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're not stopping for sure.
Saturn represents astringent foods. Okay, Saturn represents astringent foods. Astringent means like the like the taste of coconut water that we have. And I've forgotten the other planets, I suppose. I'll send you the list in the group if that will be helpful. Okay.
I mean, it's an interesting concept. You said this amazing thing that the planet enters our body through the mouth, and so
they do. That is the reason. That is the reason. The ancestors, they always insisted upon having our hands clean before eating. Just wash your hands properly before eating, because even if you're eating very sattvic food, you can still manage to pollute the food by the impurities that are present in the hand.
So okay, so you said the Marakastan. Okay, the Ayustanas is second from any house. So I don't understand this.
Second from the Marakstan. Second from the Marakstan.
The Ayustana is second from the Marakastana.
Yeah.
So an Ayustana is second from the Marakastana. And then you said that is the house of food too?
Yeah, because no, not the house of food, but the house of sustenance. Okay, that which sustains the body.
So, for example, so the Marakastanas are fixed. They're second and seventh.
Even the Ayustanas are fixed, the 8th and the 3rd.
What?
The 8th and the 3rd, they are also fixed.
No, but I'm saying the Marakastanas are second and seventh.
Right.
So the Ayustanas would be 3 and 8.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
So you said those are the houses of sustenance?
Those are the houses of sustenance for the body.
Okay, so can you elaborate on that for like the Baba 3 and Baba 8? How does that work?
That works because 7th is the house of loss. Okay, 7th, just like the Lagna is the first house. First house is the house of gain. You're gaining your health, you're gaining your, you're gaining your discretion, you're gaining your discernment power. And 7th is the house of losing everything. Okay. But then the house that prevents that loss is the house of sustenance, which is the the second house. So second from any house is the house of sustenance. Okay, so just count the second from the 7th house, you come to the 8th house. Okay,
so wait a sec. So 7th is the house of loss, and right, so the second house from the 7th is the 8th, but then I don't understand what that does. Are you saying it? I don't understand. So what is
the
that?
loss? It prevents the loss.
It prevents the loss?
You're right.
You mean from getting worse?
Not getting worse exactly, but it puts a block on whatever loss is getting, whatever loss the person is experiencing, basically.
So how would that work? For example, like 7th house, like second house to 3rd, or 7th to 8th, like an example.
For example, suppose you can have food, as much food as you want. Okay, and just you can sit all day long and have food for a year. What will happen is that the body will develop complications, right? So 3rd house is the house of effort. So what it means is that whatever you are consuming, it is giving you the energy to go out in the world and work, right? Because if the food is not burnt by the system, if food is just being stored in the body will develop complications. But because we are just going out there and giving our 100% in our work, or maybe in other activities, so the food is not getting accumulated in the body, and we are not having pot bellies, basically.
Okay, and what about 7th to 8th?
7th is it is how other people are. It is how other people are other people are influencing your life, because the spouse is the other person who is coming into your life, and you don't really know what the spouse will bring, right? She can bring fortune, she can bring misfortune, this and that. But what is the 8th house doing? 8th house is the inheritance that is helping you to sustain the spouse. Okay, because someone gets married in India at the age of 25, that person cannot have $1 million to to blow away just for 2 nights of activity. So what that person is doing is that person is taking the help of his father or maybe his family to get over the costs that come from the marriage, okay, that are incurred with the marriage. So that is how the 8th house is helping you to get over the problems or complications that are coming from the 7th house.
Through the inheritance?
The inheritance, yes. Otherwise, how can you expect a 25-year-old in India to spend $1 million in his marriage, which is actually happening?
Okay, that's really interesting. I really appreciate you saying that. So I just have one more question, I think, which is the Hadasthana. You said something about counting a number of Babas from the Hadasthana, and I wanted to if you could.
The house of completing work is the 10th house. Okay, so when Shiva fires his Trishul, that thing gets completed in the 10th house. Okay, Shiva will be sitting somewhere and firing his Trishul. That thing will be getting completed in the 10th house from the 11th house, which is the 8th house.
Wait a minute. So Shiva fires his Trishul.
Shiva is doing some work, isn't it? Shiva is doing
in the 10th house.
no,
in
no.
the 10th
He's firing his Trishul from the 11th house.
In the 11th house.
But Shiva's work will be completed in the 10th house, isn't it?
So what is so you mentioned 8 from 11.
I'm saying that 10th from the 11th, which is the 8th house.
1 second. 10 from 11. So why are you, so how do you, so 10th from 11, where do you get that? And then what's the significance?
That's what I'm saying. Shiva is firing his Trishul. He's doing some work. The completion of the work is the 10th house, right? So put all these concepts together. Now count 10 houses from the 11th house. You arrive at the 8th house.
Right. So, okay, hold on. Wait, but these are higher concepts. So
But this is not
Okay.
a higher concept. Why is it a higher concept? You just count 10 houses from the 11th house. You'll arrive at the 8th.
it's higher in the sense that it's you're putting a few concepts together. So the 10th house is the house of completion, and that's where Shiva also completes his work, is what you're saying.
Shiva no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that wherever Shiva sits, he will be sitting there for a purpose, isn't it? So for Shiva also, his 10th house will represent the completion of work, isn't it? Shiva's 10th house will represent the completion of work. So what work is Shiva doing in the horoscope? He's firing his Trishul to punish us or to reward us for our, our past life karmas, right? So, just count 10 houses from the 11th house. That is Shiva's work. That is how Shiva completes his work. He completes his work from the 8th house.
Okay. I see. You said the blind man. So then 10 from 11. 10 from 11.
Yeah,
From the 11th.
you just take the North Indian chart, count 10 houses from the 11th house.
Yeah. Count 10 from the 11th house, which is the 8th house,
Yeah.
which then shows you how Shiva is completing.
Yeah. So whatever results you're getting from the 8th house, you may be getting very good results. You may be getting very bad results. So that is how Rudra is punishing you or rewarding you for your sins, for your karmas, for your past life impressions.
So, sir, in other words, are you trying to say that whatever is there in the 11th house, say any planets or any yogas that are happening in the 11th house, are basically to complete certain karmas?
No,
So you mean
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you need a lot of, the point being, you don't need planets in the 11th house, because the 12th house is the house of moksha. Okay. So any planet in the 11th house will block that doorway.
Okay.
Any
So it's
planet
going to make it more materialistic. Is that what you're
going to
trying
make
to
it
say?
more materialistic, yes.
Sir,
What
I'm
would-
asking this because I have 5 planets in the 11th house.
You must be very, very rich in that case. You must lend us some money, right?
Not rich, but okay, I would say I've never felt the need for
Yeah.
more money. I'm very middle class, but I've never had that, abhav. That
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You'll gain more, because 11th house is also an upachaya house, it'll also behave like an upachaya house, also it is not classified as an upachaya house.
But it's a mix of, I'll give you my chart sometime. It's a mix of good and bad planets.
It's actually I call the 11th house as a bad house because it is the 6th from the 6th house. Okay,
Right.
6th from the 6th house, it's not good. You don't need planets in the 11th house, because at the end of the day, you may have several planets in the 11th house, but in your old age, you will get diseases. That is for sure.
Dead. We don't know for sure.
No,
God
that is
forbid.
for sure. You can just take any person who has a lot of diseases, who has a lot of money, but who has a lot of diseases. That person will have a lot of planets in the 11th house. पैसा तो दिया है, भोग नहीं करना है. Okay, you
Sir,
have a
so
lot
that
of
means
money. You cannot.
my last life is doomed.
No, it's not doomed. You can still learn to throw the samskaras out, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess those will clear you also.
Yeah, that is the reason why we need these things. No, that is the reason, because people are shouting yoga, yoga, yoga. No one tells you what is the end goal of yoga. The end goal of yoga is to throw out the samskaras and to become immortal. Okay, that is the end goal of yoga. No yogi will tell you this. Okay, no yogi will tell you this, that the end goal of yoga is immortal, to become immortal. People are after moksha. What will you do with moksha? Kisne dekha hai? How do you know that Vivekananda got moksha and he is not yet born? How do you know that Ramakrishna got moksha and he is not yet born? What is the problem with birth and death? People say we have to end the cycle. Why? Why do you want to end the cycle? Kya problem hai bhai? It's a natural order. Things are happening. The way to moksha is immortality. You become immortal so that you don't take birth again. Otherwise, this life will continue. You may leave your, you may leave your body through any chakra. Sadhguru is now giving you meditations on, leaving the body through this Sahasrara chakra. What is the guarantee that even if you leave through the Sahasrara chakra, you are not coming back? No one has a testimony to that now. But then moksha sells.
Anyway, nobody knows if it works or not.
That is the point. But immortality works. There are people who have become immortal. There are immortals all around us. We don't see them. That is a different thing. All the 6 schools of yoga that we have, they have only one end goal: immortality. You have to become immortal. That is through moksha. That is through moksha. Okay, some questions in the chat. Once you said excess gas in the body is due to Mangal. How? Because Mangal is responsible for Pitta. Okay, the Ayurvedic constitution of Mangal is Pitta. So excessive Pitta will give you excessive gas. Okay. What does a lot of 12th house placements mean? It means you have a lot of things to give up in this lifetime. Okay, you have to give up a lot of things. Whatever things are there in the 12th house, you have to give up on those things. Okay, it will make you lighter. Try giving it up. Okay. For example, Venus is in the 12th house. Try giving up money for the purpose of charity. It will make you very, very light. Okay. If Sun is in the 12th house, try giving up some amount of your authority. Don't show much authority as you normally show. It will make you very, very light. It will make your life simpler. And it will also give you expenses. That is also true. Okay. Second lord in the 12th house, you have to spend money before you can get money. Okay. Planets in the 12th house will give you a lot of paisa. It will give you a lot of money. Because because they will make you spend, but you cannot spend if you don't have money. Now. They will give you money and then they will make you spend. Okay. Suppose you have Mercury in the 12th house. It will take away your sleep, but it will give you money. Why? Because if you have more money, you're more afraid of the fact now that no one might take my money. Someone might take my money. What do I do in that case? So it will take away your sleep, but it will give you money. Okay, then I don't think we have.
I want to ask a question. Thank you. The Mula. So going back to an exaltation is higher than Mula Trikona. Is that right for a planet? Okay, so as far as significance goes, but so how would you differentiate like a sign in exaltation versus a Mula Trikona? What is the difference in significance as far as the influence in the chart for the native?
Is that the exaltation means you are very, very happy. The intention is very, very pure.
Okay.
Mula Trikona means you are just very comfortable. Okay, you're just being very comfortable. You may or may not have pure intentions, but the comfort level will be there. And Mula Trikona has a range. Okay.
Right, for sure.
Okay? You might not have a perfect exaltation, but Mula Trikona is more or less perfect in most cases.
Mula Trikona is more or less perfect?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, the exaltation has a certain degree to it, isn't it? For example, Mars is exalted in, say, 28 degree Capricorn.
Yeah.
But the Mula Trikona of Mars is from 0 degree to 12 degree Aries. So Mars can be a 9 degree Aries, but can still be comfortable. But suppose Mars is in 2 degree Capricorn, even if it is an exaltation, it will not be, it will not be exactly exalted. It is still there in Capricorn. It's there. It's there.
Sorry, Durisha, I'm not following.
I'm saying that the Mula Trikona of Mars is Aries, and the range is between 0 to 12 degrees.
Right.
So Mars will still be comfortable even if it is an 11-degree Aries. Okay. But the exaltation point of Mars is Capricorn, and it has to be exactly at 28 degrees. So suppose Mars is in 10-degree Capricorn, it appears to be exalted. It is not really exalted. It will not give you results of exaltation.
Wait, it's not exalted at all because it's not. Okay. So what was the significance about that 1 through 7 bhavas are invisible significance, and then 7 through 1 are visible significance?
This is related to the sun. Okay, the sun rises from the first bhava,
right?
The second last bhava. Okay, so it keeps on disappearing, isn't it? It keeps on disappearing gradually. So again, when it sets, it can only rise. So that is the significance. It also means that if the problem is happening in the first to 7 bhavas, they will not be immediately visible even to the astrologer. The remedies will not easily come. But if a problem is happening in the other bhavas, the remedies will be, the problem will be detected as well as the remedies will be found. That is another significance.
Okay. And then you said 10 to 4 is Eastern and 4 to 10 is Western. What's the significance
That
of
is
that?
again the direction of the sun. Okay, that is again the direction of the sun.
Right, but what's the reason to know that? How does it play out in a chart?
No, the point being, you want to significance. There is no significance to the eastern and the western direction. There is no significance. It's just that you're just playing with the direction of the sun. Everything did not be, everything did not have a utility.
Okay. Super duper. This was really great. Thank you. Are you going to share the slides?
Not getting you.
Are you going to share the slide?
Yeah, I will. Just wait for the end of the last class, and not the last class, the next class. Then these slides are together, so I'll share everything together, in one go.
So can I ask a question about the third house of Upachaya? Because you said it's the house of courage. So what about, let's say 2 examples that you use, what about Venus and Saturn, where Venus is, love?
Saturn will give you very good results in the third house, because Saturn is the planet of hard work. Okay, so you are here, Saturn is placed in a position where where it is required to work hard. Okay, so hard work can only grow with time. Okay, you work hard, you'll see the results exponentially growing with time. So Saturn does good in the third house. Okay. Venus average, because you're still having to go out in the world and perform, but Venus is a planet of creativity. Okay, you cannot expect a creative person to work under pressure, because third house is also the house of pressure where you have to perform. Okay, creativity will strike only at a particular time. A person who is really creative, there will be only a particular time of the day where the person would be really in his or her flow, and that is the time where the person will try to accomplish most of his or her works. And this time does not come in 24 hours of a day. It will come either in the morning, or maybe somewhere in the afternoon, or maybe somewhere in the evening, or maybe late at night. So everyone has his or her own flow state. Okay, so Venus is all about getting into the flow. So Venus in the third house, not a very good position to be.
Are you saying that it's not bad, but it's not ideal because it limits
it limits your creativity, isn't it? Suppose someone has a job which requires him to be creative at night, and he has been creative all his life or all her life by working at night, and then you ask that person to be creative at the day, it will certainly hamper his creativity. Of course, the creativity is not getting hampered, but his way of working will get hampered.
So if somebody had that, then you're saying they could work, if they found their flow, that would be a way to.
Yeah. It depends. It is conditional. Okay, it is conditional.
Okay, conditional. That's a good way to say it. Okay. Conditional. Thank you, Devashiji. This you outdid yourself today.
Yeah. All right, then I'll see you in the next week. Okay, and between next week we'll have a session on the planets and the Vishnu avatars, which has been getting pending for a long time. Okay. All right, then thank you so much for joining. Okay, I'll see you more with with new videos on YouTube. Namaste, everyone. Om Gurave Namaha.
Thank you.